Good evening once again to you all. Welcome to this weekly analysis. I think there are going to be a lot of people that are signing in for their first time. Maybe they are new to trading. Please, if you are new to trading, I'm going to be sending a message to our various communities for you to help you out if you are going to be lost on whatever we are doing here, right? So first and foremost, we're going to start with the dollar index. What we're trying to do here is to understand the direction where we will likely have price expanding to this coming week, all right, where we can take our trades, where we can be taking our trades and which levels we're going to be targeting and which levels are going to be like our key levels, okay? Now, I think last week we did some analysis. Maybe was it 3 months time frame? Yeah, I think it was 3 months time frame. Oh my God, I think it was 3 months time frame. Okay, yeah, it was a 3 months time frame. So we were expecting the dollar index to drop down to this 3 months. These are 3 months fair value gap, which is gonna be like our drawn liquidity. All right, and then this is the low of the fair value gap. So also this area aligns with this area, which we can say it's an area of resistance. All right, it was broken, which was okay. It's now a support. As it was broken, now it's gonna act like a support. All right, so we have that zone as well. This fair value gap aligns with that area too. So if we go down now to the monthly time frame, we'll see that the monthly also has that fair value gap. It also has a fair value gap within the 3 months average, right? This is just important so that you have an idea of where price is coming from and where price is actually going to. So for the past 3 months, yeah, dollar has been dropping, and we'll see expected to drop right down to around 98. 98.27. So let's go straight to the weekly. So this last week, price barely did nothing. Since it was some holidays, there was no volume. The market, we barely expanded neither up or down. So, and I think when we did this analysis last week, we were expecting price to at least take previous weekly low before pushing higher. And I think that's going to be the same thing we'll be expecting again this week. So looking at the weekly time frame, let me just remove this monthly fair value. Let's just put it here. We have our 1 month AVG right there, and then below that 1 month fair value gap, we have price slightly creating a low here, which we're gonna maybe use like maybe it can become like an inducement for price approach, but then it is a good area for us to watch out for. Okay, just price filling the monthly fair value gap. That's going to be the the closest zone where we're going to expect some bullishness, which means that I want to see the dollar index trade down into this 3 months fair value gap, maybe tapping into the monthly, and from there we can really have a deep pullback, pushing back to the upside. Okay, I would really love to start buying when price hits this monthly fair value gap. It's going to be a very good buy, and the risks will not be that much. So for now, if you're struggling to buy DXY at this level, it's not really advisable because the market is like it's hanging somewhere. And for the market to buy, it needs sellers, right? What that means is if you start to buy early, the market is going to manipulate you, and then you'll be like you giving the. All right, I was trying to switch my network. Please, if you can see my screen, type 1 on the chat. Let's continue right away. Okay, so what I was trying to say before I decided to switch my network was that at this point, the market has actually dropped quite well, but if you're struggling to buy this early, you're going to maybe buy used as liquidity. All right, this is mostly like sound logic, okay? It's remember the market moves by liquidity, or it moves to areas where liquidity is, and first and foremost you have to understand there must be buyers and there must be sellers. And if intentionally the market wants to buy, it needs to first of all do what? Bring in sellers. So what can happen for at this point for the market to have sellers is if the market is breaking out below this low, this is going to induce more sellers to start entering more sell positions. All right. Now, as they're entering more sell positions, now they provide us the liquidity to buy. We'll be able now to buy to them. And fortunately for us, we're going to be buying to them at a cheaper price, all right? Because you can see the market has dropped so much. If we're buying from those who are selling, at least we are buying at a cheaper price here, okay? And then normally you're going to buy if you have confirmations because it could drop a little more. But this area, the 3 month fair value gap coupled with the 1 month fair value gap, is a good area for us to get our longs from. And like I said, remember, we want to see a manipulation down. This is going to bring in more sellers so that we can be able to buy from them, right? So basically, that's what we're expecting on DXY. And I think I sent some setups about sales on, was it buys on Euro USD was because of this price fill this fair value gap, and Tuesday closed a very nice candle. This was Wednesday. Wednesday showed us that price was willing to sell, though Friday did not move because it was bank holiday. So I still expect lower prices tapping out to the area before we have prices pushing back up. Okay. Also, this would Monday will also give us a clue of what to expect, because sometimes you can have Monday open maybe with a volume gap and then you just see price pushing somewhere. Let's say Monday opens here and then boom, you just see price push something like this. This is going to change this narrative immediately, which means from there now we want to maybe now see if we're going to have price reacting from this fair value gap before pushing lower. All right. So this is why Mondays are always very important for you to watch how price plays out, because it's likely going to pave the way for uh, the whole week. Okay. It's still the same, like you're going to see maybe Monday will open and then just expands down to this fair value gap. If this happens like this, therefore, we can easily see Tuesday trying to push back up, Wednesday, and so on, and then even Friday. Okay. And probably Monday will create the low of the week, or still Tuesday can take the low of Monday and then try to reverse from there. You know that this is already the low of the week, and price will be pulling back to the range. So it's yeah, Monday will give us more data to actually exploit. But now Monday, if I get some sell opportunities, I'll sell to target this weekly low and maybe see if price will drop down to the monthly fair value gap. But for now, sales are a little bit risky because price has overextended to the downside, and at any moment, price can start buying. All right. So you might want to really wait for price to go to your key level before you want to get some good. If you get some buys are in this area, you can actually hold them back into this range. All right, because I believe price will be pulling back heavily if we actually drop down to this area. So this is my idea on DXY. We can now look at Euro USD, just trying to do the opposite of what we have here. Now on Euro USD, I will not want us to go too much to the higher time frame again, but if we can look at the monthly time frame, all right, this is Euro USD. Price has really expanded higher. And Euro USD has no fair value gap like the one that we saw on. Okay, this is the fair value gap here. I was almost forgetting. Remove them. Okay, we have this fair value gap as well on Euro USD. The 3 months fair value gap. It was not filled. Price did not fill it. You can see we still have some few pips into that. So that's still our target. We go to the monthly time frame. This high has to be taken out. This high has to be taken out, and then we have this this indecision candle on the monthly. Let's go to the weekly. Somebody's trying to write on my screen. That's not good. All right, so we have this high on the weekly that we anticipate price to take, which is going to be filling the monthly fair value gap and reaching into this area where we can have some price. We can have the area resist price, waiting for price to drop back lower. So we can expect previous weekly high to be taken out. I don't know if it's gonna be a CRT, but this previous week, if it takes the high and close back within, it can be a possible CRT because price is tapping into a higher time frame key level. So, which means we might have something like that taps into that area, and then we'll have a deeper pullback. But that will happen. That confirmation of this CRT will be when this weekly candle closes. If we do something like this, maybe let's say we trade up, we take the high of the candle, tapping into that other block plus the 3 month fair value gap, and then we close back within. Then we can now expect a deeper pullback like this. Maybe price pullbacks respect this other block and from there continue higher or much deeper. All right, that will be, we'll look at that when the time comes. But for now, that's what we are expecting. Somebody's writing on my screen. All right, so this is same thing I'm expecting on Euro USD. Price should tap into that other block, into also which is their 3 months fair value gap, and then give us some good sells, right? So on the daily is the same thing. This candle can become a daily CRT if price doesn't close above it. I will be very happy if Monday takes the high of this candle, tapping into that level, and comes back and close within like that. That will be so nice. And from there, we can target this fair value gap first. Okay. All right. So more, we expect prices to move into. We expect to see price trade into this fair value gap, and then from there we have this fair value gap here. Price can pull back into it. All right, so that's for Euro USD. Let's check GBP USD. Okay, GBP USD has been trying to expand higher as well. I think we had some buys on this guy last week. And we have this daily fair value gap here. Now, if you notice, if I should go to the 3 months on this GBP USD, you're going to notice that it's quite different. It's quite different from what we have on Euro USD. And looking at this area, this is a CRT that I was expecting on the 3 months. Okay, price to even take this high, maybe even taking up this high. But it doesn't mean something that might happen immediately, but this high is likely going to be taken out on the weekly. We have it as an old high, which will likely be taken out. Let's see, this old high here, and then this fair value gap here was not filled, so more higher prices on GBP USD. Yeah, more higher prices. We took out the low of this candle, filling the fair value gap, and we managed to close above it. So more higher prices from here. Maybe taking out the CRT high will give us a reason for price to pull back a little bit before moving higher to take out this high. Remember, there's a fair value gap that we just spotted above this high. So this high is actually buy side liquidity. But before that happens, we've actually expanded quite well here. But you can see maybe price will play around this area, take out that CRT high, pull back a little before pushing into that area. Okay. So since we're expecting more sales on DXY, more buys on Euro before a correction, is the same thing we're going to be expecting here. More buys, maybe something like that before we continue higher to break through. Maybe we're going to have the kiss of death around this area. Okay. So that's for GBP USD. Let's quickly check gold. All right, gold, we talked about 3,500 on gold. No, was it? I think I mentioned a round figure on our last analysis, and gold has expanded really much. One of my students mentioned that this can be a possible CRT. It's true, can be a possible CRT, but at this point, we have to be very careful because when an asset is trading at its all-time high, you don't predict reversals, right? Because it can trend for as much as it wants, especially assets like gold and all the rest indices. So this can be a good area for price to sell off, but price might still want to push higher. And if it still wants to push higher, we can have this key level, 3,500. That will be our next area of target at a whole number, institutional level. We also have 3,400. We also have 3,400. So these two areas, maybe you can have something price pull back into this fair value gap and then just continue higher like that. Because we now have this fair value gap here. Maybe gold will do something like this, tap into this area before we have a very huge correction from there. Okay. For now, I don't expect any serious sales on gold, but I know they can come like just come in, just drop heavily, all right. But then you have to be very conscious when a market is trading at its all-time high. It's not always a good thing to stand against. You know why gold is trending much like this is because people are trying to sell. So when you're trying to sell, what you're simply doing, you are offering liquidity for the big guys to keep buying what you're selling. So when people will want to now give up on buying, that's when you will not crash heavily, right? It's just logic. So I think we might feel this fair value gap either continue higher, but then if price closes below this low, if we close below the low of this candle this week, then that can be a good start for a pullback for us. We can now have something like that. Okay. If at all we close below this candle, if we don't close and price just fills this fair value gap that we have here, we might just want to continue higher. Maybe we can have the next pullback around 3,500. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin last week, I think I mentioned that we are still bearish, but we're going to be bullish if price closes above this high. So throughout the week, price was just consolidating. You can see how the weekly candle is. We have not made any major movement yet. So as of now, we are still waiting to see where it wants to expand. But we're having signs of bullishness, I think. Let's go to the 3 months fair value gap. We're having signs of bullishness on the 3 months fair value gap as we feel this. You can assume this to be an internal range liquidity. From here, price might want to pull back to take this all-time high. And just like I said, if that is going to happen, based on the fact that price has taken out internal range liquidity, we want to see price close above this high, okay? If price closes above this high, then I want to get involved in buying Bitcoin as a retest till all-time high is taken out. Why is that so? We also have this area which is going to be like a trend line liquidity. You can even see that price has broken out of the trend line already, and this is like a retest. So those traders that trade break and retest, they might be on buys now like this, and then they are targeting this high, right? And that won't be bad. That won't be bad. I think we've actually broken out of the trend line. But then I want to see price close above this high and then pull back, retest this range, and from there we expect more higher prices. If that doesn't happen, then we're going to be having more lower prices on Bitcoin till I think we saw a key level. Yeah, we have this fair value gap here. We have this tiny fair value gap here. If that doesn't happen, we can have one sweep by taking out this low, and from there we can see higher prices. All right, that's for Bitcoin. Let's look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq throughout this week, I did not trade it. I did not like the way price was moving. Actually, we had price opening with gaps up and down every day. It was just so crazy. I just had to stay out of it. All right, but for now, I'm still expecting higher prices on Nasdaq based on the fact that we are having this beautiful structure here. Price mitigated this order block here after taking out all this trend line liquidity, and we had a beautiful close from there, right? So I'm still expecting a little bit more higher prices on Nasdaq, but then I actually was expecting now that maybe we can have this candle as a CRT. We take out the low of the candle like that. That is price. We take out this low and then continue higher. This is gonna be like our other block, something, yeah. We will support price from there to move higher. All right, that's for Nasdaq. I think US 500 will look similar. Yeah, it's the same thing. US 500, same thing. Let's quickly look at GBP GPY. I think most of you are trading that as well. So GBP GPY, we are expecting bullishness. I think we talked about this in our last lesson. Okay, we had price trading down to this daily order block, taking out all this liquidity. From here, I actually expect a little bit higher prices coming back into this fair value gap here. I was expecting this to be filled even last week, but that did not happen. You can see how the weekly chart here is. Okay, we have the weekly fair value gap is also sitting down here. So GBP GPY this week, we are gonna be bullish. All right, we will be bullish on GBP GPY this week. Okay, we're going to be bullish on GBP GPY this week. Price drop down, expected outer block here. Yeah, at least even if price wants to sell, maybe it's gonna fill up this area before we want to sell. But then I think price will really want to move higher from there. That one, let's look at GPY index. Okay, you can see GPY index is bullish, so it's more likely that GBP GPY will want to sell. If GBP GPY wants to sell, now look at something here, guys. This is very interesting. You can see that this price action here is not the same like what we just saw on, like what we saw on GBY index. Let me just screenshot this and I'll show you. Let me just put this here. Okay. Now, if you look at this price action, okay, look at this price action here. What I just pasted is not totally the opposite of what we have here. Okay. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's not totally the opposite of what we are having for GPY index. You can see that GPY index is trying to move higher. And that is GBP USD is trying to move higher, and GPY index is also trying to move higher instead of trying to move lower, like to fill its own fair value gap. So GBP GPY is trying to fill this fair value gap, and GPY index is not willing to drop. So what do you guys think that is happening? What do you think is going to happen here? You guys have 10 minutes to answer the question. The first person I'm going to be giving you, there's going to be a prize for the correct answer. What do you think is happening? Or what do you think is going to happen what do you think is going to happen? Yeah. Somebody is still drawing my screen. Hey, Jonathan is like, yes, he's preparing for this SMT. Jonathan, you write me after this session, okay? Let me give you data. It's SMT, so we're likely going to be having an SMT. Maybe DXY, GBP GPY will tap into this fair value gap, causing SMT, and then will continue lower. I think I've looked at almost every pair that you guys trade. Which other assets should I look at? You didn't seem contraction. No, Jonathan was the first person. He's the first. Apostle, that's correct. SMT, yeah, but he was already second. Jonathan was following up with all his mind. Euro GPY. Okay, let's quickly check Euro GPY. Euro GPY. Euro GPY. Okay. So I think last week I said if price is closing below this low, we're going to continue lower, but it's been consolidating. We are still consolidating, and I'm still bearish. Yeah, still bearish on GPP on the Euro GPY. Okay, yeah, still bearish on Euro GPY. Now, this is what I'm gonna have here. Okay, for me to start selling Euro GPY, I'll have to wait for price to close below this candle's low. Okay, it will close below that low, this low. Yeah, it will be ideal for us to start selling. Let's look at 4 hour. 4 hour structure is not bad. I think we have this other block here. Yeah, something like that. Gonna be a huge sell. Something like that. But you have to wait for this shift in market structure here. Because the market can maybe open with a gap, take out this high. If it takes out this high, that would be good. Then you can have your more than one entry here to sell off. Maybe even this one. I don't know. We have this is not equal highs that we have here. I don't think they're not equal highs. If there are equal highs, then you have to be much careful. Yeah, price did not take out that high. So, but in fact, this is not the price action here is not good. So you wait at least for the daily to expand before you start engaging. This is a lot of contraction. If you are trading within this price action, I don't know what you're doing. It's good. It's true that the market has expanded out of here, but you wait for at least wait for the daily to maybe give you some displacement candle. You can see how the daily is here. How many just in tight top in a consolidation? At least if you wait for the daily to give you an idea of where price wants to go, that would be good. That is, if price do something like this on the daily, maybe now you have price expand like that and close up, then definitely price will want to continue higher. But maybe if we close now below this candle with such expansion, that would be good. Price will then retest the following day and then continue lower. Any other assets? We look at EG, USD JPY. Okay, let's look at USD JPY before we end the session. USD JPY. All right, guys. Remember, I'm going to be sending signals on the group, also based on the program that we are having. USD JPY. I'm going to send more updates about the group, about the program on the group. So make sure to stay in touch. Okay, make sure to stay in touch. Get your accounts ready. I'm going to be sending guys signals so that from there you can at least everybody should be having a payout. Using GPY, where is it going to? USD GPY. You know that GPY is buying, right? So it's gonna affect. You guys should think about this. We're expecting what? DXY is, we're expecting DXY to sell and JPY is buying. So USD JPY should definitely be in a massive sell program. That's why you can see since the beginning of the month, we are only selling. So this low is likely going to be a target for us. Okay. So weekly, we are still bearish. I think this low is going to be taken out. Daily, we are consolidating, but we're likely going to continue lower. You can see our price is validating this other block here. So we're going to continue lower. Maybe we'll take out that low before we have any reasonable pullback into the range, just like DXY. Okay. Yeah. Australian cards. All right. I think this should be all for today. I think that should be all for today, guys. Uh, I hope you guys have learned something.